Ladies and gentlemen, scoundrels of all ages, welcome back once again to Modern Weekly. This week on the docket, we have Cascade Rhinos versus Lonis food combo. Two decks that have seen their own changes recently, but looking like the Lonis food combo's on its similar build this time. Cascade Rhinos here with the new additions of Tishana's Tidebinder, which really has made the Cascade Rhinos deck one of the most formidable decks in the format with how much interaction it has. See both players shuffling up here, getting ready for game one, taking mulligans. Right. Looks like we have a keep of 6 here for the Lonis food combo player. And they are on the play, getting us started with a forest into a gilded goose, creating a food token, passing the turn. Looks like we got a tap stomping ground and a pass. There's the draw. Verdant Catacombs. Looks like being cracked here, going to 17. Getting a temple garden. Which will come into play untapped here. And there is the samwisegamgee. Then tapping for green off the gilded goose, for a gilded goose, making a food, and then making a food off the samwisegamgee. Forest for the Cascade player. And a pass. Alright, and there's the Lonis Cryptozoologist. Another one of the namesakes of this deck. Looks like it's on the stack here. Looks like we have a fire. Probably targeting the Samwise. Yep, targeting the Samwise, dealing 2 damage to it. It goes to the graveyard. Passing the turn here. Oh, end of turn of the Cascade player here with a Court of Calling. Looks like that's a chord for 0, finding Asmo as well as the Underworld Cookbook. Great card here to find 4-0 off the Chord of Calling. Cookbook goes to hand. A clue made off the Lonis with the Asmo coming in. Looks like the Lonis player's in the tank. An attack for 3 here with the Asmo. 17 all, and a pass the turn. Looks like the Cascade player here has been stuck on lands. Ooh, has to discard a card to hand size. Oh, another end of turn Chord of Calling. Looks like this one's for 2. Finding the samwisegamgee, making a food off the Lonis cryptozoologist. Untapping. And the draw for turn. Three mana for the Chatterfang. Looks like we got a Subtlety, pitching the Shardless Agent in response. Looks like the Lonis player is putting it back on top of his library. And there is an attack for 6. Putting us at 11 to 17. And a pass. And that'll scoop him up. Still no third land for the Cascade player. And from there we'll move into game 2. Apologies for the rough cut there. Looks like we're about ready. Shuffled up there after the sideboarding decisions. Just a reminder, thank you so much for watching us here at MTG Scoundrels. We are in fact putting timestamps in the description so you can quickly get to the games you want to see in the match. Of course, drop us a like and subscribe if you enjoy our content here on the channel. We love bringing paper Magic the Gathering to you guys. Looks like we got some mulligan decisions to be made here. Oh, no, both keeping 7. Wooded Foothills in play there for the Cascade Rhinos player. And what a start there. Chalice on 0. To the fetch land for turn. The Windswept Teeth. Looks like we got the crack for the Ketria Triome there. Of course, this is setting up for all the plays later. Specifically to only have to fetch for basics at this point, making them less susceptible to things like Magus of the Moon and Blood Moon. Looks like we got a Misty Rainforest and pass. And we have a fetch here, cracking the Windswept Teeth. Finding the Overgrown Tomb, coming in tapped, bringing us to 19 all. Draw for turn. Looks like we have a Misty Rainforest and pass. And a crack the Misty Rainforest for the Cascade player. Finding the basic forest. Looks like we have a Boseiju Who Endures, taking out the Chalice of the Void. Sitting at 18-19. Oh, Lonis player's going to crack here as well. Finding the Misty Rainforest, or finding the breeding pool, excuse me. Can't find a Misty Rainforest. Draw for turn for the Cascade player. Plays a Misty Rainforest and passes a turn. Lots of Misty Rainforests in this matchup. So we have a basic forest for the Lonis player. You have a Delighted Halfling, followed by an Academy Manufactor. Looks like it may be on the stack here. Nope. Well, maybe. Cracking in response. To find the basic island. And there's the Violent Outburst. The card that makes this deck so potent, being able to cascade at instant speed, finding the Crashing Footfalls, making 2 4/4 Rhinos. lot of ways, the Cascade Rhinos list is the ultimate tempo deck. Land here for the Cascade player, and an attack for 8, it looks like. The Lonis player taking the 8, drawing for turn. And there is the collected company. And there's the Force of Negation, knowing that Coco will take this game to a much stronger place for the Lonis player. Wow, not much you can do about that. Play the Halfling and a Dryad Arbor, and then all of a sudden Violent Outburst again on the end of turn. Into Crashing Footfalls, putting 2 more Rhinos on the battlefield. And honestly, for the Cascade player, that particular set of Rhinos tokens just means, isn't this absurd? And that'll do it. Attacking for 16, trample damage. Game 2 going to Cascade Rhinos. As we mentioned before, you can see the timestamps below. Move more quickly into Game 3. We appreciate all the support you guys have provided us here in our first few weeks. Just a reminder, we put out a new video every Sunday evening, sometimes Monday morning. Of course, we have Jason here. He's top 8'd a couple of RCs, or RCQs specifically, with this Lonis food deck most recently. Top 8'd an RCQ. Aaron here on Cascade Rhinos. One of the mainstays of the local meta. And overall, this Cascade Rhinos list has really proven itself to be the best deck in the format. Those of you looking for a deck to play at the RC coming up in Denver, Rhinos is a good choice. Other decks you might end up seeing, of course, Rakdos Scam, despite the Fury banning. Amulet Titan, which has quietly been one of the most powerful decks in the format for a while, but more people have picked it up. And of course, the Yawgmoth combo decks. Feel free to let us know in the comments below what decks you think are strongest in the meta right now. And if we'll see an adjustment moving forward, considering how strong the top 4 decks really have been since the banning of Up the Beanstalk and Fury. Looks like the Lonis player's going to 6 here. And looks like the Cascade player going to 6 as well. this Rhinos list, having access to Subtlety, Tishana's Tidebinder, Force of Negation, Fire Ice, Dead Gone now in the main, really just makes it a tough deck to deal with, having so many options that it can use in response to things, considering the Cascade mechanic. So many cards now above that 3 CMC that's needed to be avoided, specifically under 3 CMC. And the fact that they can just accidentally have cards like Murktide Regent available to them as well really just makes this deck arguably the best deck in the format. Looks like Cascade here going to 5. One thing to always compliment Aaron here, our Cascade player, that playmat is just something special. Feel free to name the memes you see and references you see down in the comments below as well. All right. Took 2, cast a Cauldron Familiar, brought it back to 1919. Misty Rainforest and pass. There's a Yavimaya. All lands are now forests, in addition to their other types. An attack for 1. And another Cauldron Familiar, bringing us to 1720. Fetch for the Cascade player. Finding the Ketria Trio. Generally, this could be a pretty strong start here for the Lonis player. A lot of times they see Cauldron Familiar and a way to cast it, they'll keep the hand. Having access to that part of the combo already is a very strong position to be in. And there is the Fire Ice tapping down the Overgrown Tomb in the upkeep. Oh, there's the top deck Chalice for 0. Which for the Cascade list is becoming less and less frightening. But a needed tool nonetheless. Island for the Cascade player. And a pass. Breeding pool for the Lonis player. Bring us to 18-14. Into a Chatterfang. Attacking in for 2. Bringing us to 12-18. Looks like we have a Gone, sending the Chatterfang back to hand. Untapping and drawing. Mountain for land for turn. And passing. Looks like we have a Boseiju who endures all. Nope, just a Boseiju who endures, excuse me. Into a Witch's Oven. Into the Chatterfang. And an attack for 2. Tough position here. Oh, there's the Force of Vigor. Pitching a Violent Outburst. Oh no. Lonis player going to activate the Witch's Oven. There's the blowout. Tishana's Tidebinder in response to the activation of the Witch's Oven. Creature has to be sacked to the Witch's Oven here. As part of the activation, it gets targeted by the Tishana's Tidebinder, countering that activation, and the Tidebinder blocks the final cat, sending it to the graveyard. Rough spot. Tap Steam Vents for the Cascade player here. An attack for 3. Untap and draw for the Lonis player. Playing the Halfling. And a Viscera. Looks like we have an attack for 3 with the Chatterfang, sending us to 9-15. Another attack with the Tidebinder. Oh, looks like we're attacking with the team with the Lonis player here. Viscera, Halfling, and Chatterfang getting in. But there is the Violent Outburst. Into Crashing Footfalls here. Creating 2 4/4 Rhinos. Looks like we have some blocks. The Chatterfang, of course, is unblockable thanks to Forest Walk here. So blocking the Delighted Halfling and the Viscera Seer. As expected, Viscera Seer sacring the Delighted Halfling for the scry. Looks like we have a scry to the bottom. Viscera Seer sacking itself for the scry, putting it on bottom as well. There's the halfling in a pass. Land for the Cascade player. Attacking with a team. Lonis player blocks with the Delighted Halfling, jumping it under the Tidebinder, taking 8 down to 6-4. Tough position here for the Lonis player. The Tidebinder play really was a blowout earlier. In the tank, figuring out. Oh, attacking with the Chatterfang. Which would send us to 4-3. However, I don't think it really matters here. Oh, yep, counting up cards in the graveyard. There's the Murktide Regent. And the attack. I don't think there's a way out here. Well, there's the Court of Calling, and there's the Force of Negation with the counter. And that should do it. Thank you so much for tuning in this week on Modern Weekly. Once again, feel free to like and subscribe if you enjoyed our content. Definitely check out previous videos involving Merfolk versus Lonis combo, as well as some of our other Cascade content, like Cascade Rhinos versus Rakdos Scam. And we will see you next week. And thank you for watching.